For 2 centuries, a single idea has shaped the North American hemisphere, that the Americas are a sphere of influence to be managed by a single power, and this power can only be what we know today as the USA. First declared in 1823, this doctrine has never truly disappeared. It has only been rebranded. For Canada, this has meant a constant tension between immense prosperity and profound dependency. Our economy was structured to feed raw materials south, while real value and real power was added elsewhere. Canada was already seen by the US as a cheap, dispensable farm worker, oil driller, lumberjack, or manufacturing worker, working hard and providing what the US needs for cheap. But what happens when the pressure meant to enforce this old order becomes so great that it finally breaks the very system it was meant to control? This is the story of that very breaking point. We will trace this Canadian journey in 3 movements. First, the pressure. How an attempt to weaken Canada became the catalyst for its greatest economic restructuring in a generation, for its freedom. Second, the pivot. How quiet, steady diversification, particularly towards Europe, is building a new foundation of resilience. Third, the price. How this hard-won sovereignty is now attracting the investment that will define our next century. Since the founding of the 2 countries, the strategy from the South was one of leverage. Apply targeted economic pressure and anticipate capitulation. Tariffs, threats, even extortion were the tools used to force compliance, to reinforce an old imperialistic hierarchy. The historic reference makes the organic fascist gangster's motivation for its tariff terror on Canada indisputably clear. He follows the tradition: we win, you lose. But finally, Canada had enough. We had enough. Canada's response was not to buckle, but to rebuild. Under Mark Carney's clear visionary leadership, our government quietly, systematically began to strategically pivot. New supply chains were forged. Trading relationships diversified, not as symbolic gesture, but as an existential necessity. The most significant of those new bridges was built across the Atlantic, with energy, agriculture and technology exports to Europe becoming a cornerstone of a new independent trade posture. Even it felt like a sudden boom. It was a deliberate restructuring, and it sent a powerful signal to global capital. Here is a reliable nation with steady leadership and a stable political environment, actively de-risking the future. Investment followed immediately, not in a spectacular rush, but as a vote of confidence in this new resilience. The unintended consequence south of the border was a lesson in self-inflicted wounds: rising costs, supply chain snags, manufacturing job losses, and a collapsing tourism industry. The pressure of abuse had backfired. While Canada is absorbing the short-term pain of restructuring, we build long-term flexibility. The cost of independence, while real, is becoming a prudent investment. Economic resilience provided the foundation. The next phase is about building the future on top of it. The announcement of a $7.5 billion investment from the tech giant Microsoft is not a coincidence. It is a direct investment into Canada's digital sovereignty. This capital will expand data center and AI infrastructure, ensuring that our nation and most valuable digital assets are secured within our own borders, governed by our own laws. The executive commitment to defend Canada's digital borders is a statement that resonates deeply in this new context. It frames technology not just as an industry, but as a domain of our national sovereignty. This transforms Canada's position. We are no longer just a reliable supplier of physical resources. We are becoming a secure, advanced hub for the intellectual and digital resources that will power the next generation. This makes Canada an even more attractive partner for Europe and global firms seeking a stable, reliable, high-tech North American base, independent of external leverage. The value of our hard-won position is thrown into sharp context by events we see elsewhere. As an example, the current US disaster administration shows over and over how unreliable, self-centered and extortionary they are. Consider the recent suspension by the Orange Idiot of the major US-UK tech prosperity deal. The reason? Not a failure in technology, but a dispute over unrelated trade concessions. The deal was used as leverage to force the UK into obedience. Its promise held hostage to force compliance on other fronts. This is the precise vulnerability Canada's pivot is designed to avoid. It illustrates the risk of deep, singular dependency. When your primary economic relationship can be weaponized across unrelated sectors, true strategic autonomy is impossible. Canada's path is leading away from that trap. The diversified partnership, the sovereign digital infrastructure, and the resilient supply chain are all elements of a single goal: to ensure that no single power can hold our vital interest hostage anymore. The journey from history to opportunity is rarely a straight line. It is often forced by pressure. But the old pressure has finally failed, and Canada is designing its new future, one where resilience is cultivated through diversification, where sovereignty is guarded in physical and digital spaces, and where trust attracts the capital of the future. Canada has moved from a role defined within someone else's orb of influence to positioning itself as a sovereign strategic hub, a credible alternative partner in North America for a world seeking stability. A lot of work still needs to be done. The next few years won't be easy, but exciting. The restructure brought pain, but it purchased freedom. At last. So, I turn the final question for today to you. What should be Canada's next practical step to solidify this dual advantage on the world stage? Canada's next chapter depends on the choices we make today. Please share your perspective in the comments below. If this video gave you value, I would love it if you subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by Christmas. So please, do support that goal if you are curious. And if you like this channel's deep dives, click the like button and ring the bell so you won't miss my next one. Thanks for watching. I'm Wilfried Lemkuler from Europe Curious.